Good morning. Welcome to our Sunday worship service. My name is Lisa Salisbury, she, her pronouns, and I'm a longtime member of this church. In my professional role, I serve as the director of the University of Idaho Women's Center. This is an organization at the U of I that works to further gender equity on campus and in the community. In April last year, I defended my doctoral dissertation on anti-racist feminist practices. Through my thank you. So through my ongoing work on white accountability, I've made it a mission to uplift whenever possible the voices and work of feminist scholars and thinkers of color, especially those of Black women. I'm honored and proud to have been invited to be a part of a series of services this month on Black feminist thinkers. I'd like to extend a special welcome to all of those who are joining us for the first time today. We're so glad that you're here. If you've come in person, you should have received a welcome packet with an information card in it. If you fill that out and drop it in the offering basket, we'll be in touch to support you in finding your way into our community. If you're joining us online, there's a link on our website to an electronic version of that same card. Our welcoming committee members have yellow name tags, and they can get you a welcome packet, answer any questions, and point you towards additional information about our congregation. Whether you're new or not, please consider staying for coffee and conversation after the service, either downstairs in our fellowship hall or in our Zoom room. And now, let's say our words of welcome together. Whether this is your first or your 1000th Sunday with us, and whether you strolled, rolled, zoomed, ran, or danced in, we are glad you chose to join us. We are one people of many beliefs, identities, origins, sexualities, and genders. All are welcome here. And now we're going to take a moment to say hello across the technical divide. So first we're going to show the people joining us from home on Zoom. So if you're at home, please turn on your camera. And now everyone at home, wave. Now people who are attending the service in our building, it's your turn to wave back.
The disembodied man.
Thank you. We have a couple of announcements today. A reminder that the right side of the sanctuary, the chairs that are marked with yellow ribbons, are reserved for members of our congregation who prefer to mask. So if you would like to sit in that area, we ask that you please wear a mask. There are masks available at both entrances to the sanctuary. Tonight at 7 p.m. at the Kenworthy, there's a special event being sponsored by the Idaho Black Community Alliance. It's a panel entitled Creating an Environment Where Black People Can Flourish and Thrive. It is free and promises to be a wonderful kickoff to Black History Month. So tonight at 7 p.m. at the Kenworthy Theater on Main Street in Moscow. And then I believe Ryan has an announcement to make.
Oh, Sam has one too.
Okay, just very quickly, we had 0 childcare workers sign up to watch the kids during Spirit Play today, and could just use a few volunteers. So after Time for All Ages, thank you, Karen, and we're singing the Reed benediction, just follow me on out, and it's a free play day today, so you don't need to know how to do anything. Just come hang out and play with the kids, and it'll be fun. So, thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. Sam?
Okay, so we did have a big birthday this week. Dan Rathman, 90. Let's sing.
Happy birthday.
We preface our service by acknowledging that our church was built on the ancestral homelands of the Nimipu, called the Nez Perce by the French-speaking traders, the Palouse, and the Stitzoumsh, called the Coeur d'Alene. Let us pause and remember that we live on ground that is sacred, ground that was stolen, ground that cries out for justice and for responsible stewardship. May our remembering help us find the courage to do our part to restore wholeness to the earth and all her peoples. We're hoping that folks joining us via Zoom have a chalice or a candle to light and something to light it with. Let's light our chalices together. Please join me in saying the words to light our chalice. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek and seek to share.
Good morning, everyone. I am the Reverend Dr. Elizabeth Stevens, and I have the incredible privilege of serving this congregation as its minister. Our theme for February is justice, and since February is also Black History Month, we've decided to spend the entire month focusing on the work of Black feminists. These brilliant and brave women offer an approach to justice making that is compassionate, relational, and sustainable. Black women learn to survive and thrive and work for justice under incredibly difficult conditions, impacted by both patriarchy and white supremacy, and also by a particular brand of specifically anti-Black misogyny known as misogynoir? Misogynoir, okay. A term coined by feminist scholar and thought leader Moya Bailey. Now, many of us feel as if society is becoming increasingly toxic over the last decade. The truth is, it's always been toxic for Black women, which means they know how to move forward and build a better world in the midst of toxicity. So let's listen and learn and follow their lead. We'll begin today by revisiting the work of author, educator, and writer Bell Hooks. Hooks proposes a path forward that's built on what she names the love ethic. All justice work grows naturally out of our love for ourselves, for one another, and for the planet. She invites us to embrace an effortless, generative, and generous discipline of living life with an open heart, and postulates that as more people choose to do so, we will create the world we dream of together. More about that later. But first, we're going to sing. Now, we've been working for the last couple weeks on this song, Be the Change, so that we can add it to our repertoire. And today, we're going to teach you some harmonies. So I'd like to invite Debbie McLaughlin forward.
And other choir members. Thank you. There we go. Okay. All right.
All right. Anybody need? Oh, can you look on with me? I thought I had two, but do we have more?
No.
No.
You guys don't need it. We don't need
Okay. So 2 weeks ago, the choir sang this for us, and we tried singing along, and it was not awful. Last week, we focused on learning the melody. So if we could just sing the melody together to make sure that it's in your ear and in your head, because you're going to get choices as to which part you're going to sing. So here's the melody, and if you could just sing it with me. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. And change will come to you. Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to teach you some harmonies. And we're going to start with the alto part, which sounds like this. And we'll sing a line, and then you sing it back to us. Be the change you want to see in the world. And then, so sing that back to me. Be the change you want to see in the world. Then the same thing, the same exact thing. Be the change you want to see in the world. So you do that twice. And then the third time you sing Be the Change, it's a little bit different. So listen carefully. Be the change you want to see in the world. Do you want to do that again? Be the change you want to see in the world. See in the world. Change to see in the world. And change will come to you. And change will come to you. And change will come to you. And change. Got it? Okay, so that's the alto part. Now let's learn the low part. It goes like this. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. Really?
Sorry.
Can you do that again?
So that last one.
Change,
So sorry,
be the change you want to see in the world. Little dissonance there, you got it. And change will come to you. All right. Okay, so let's try. Martha says we have to do it again. Okay. So let's sing through the whole part just on that lower bit one more time without pausing. See if we can do that, okay? Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. And change will come to you. Okay, so before you freak out, you get choices. If you don't feel like singing at all, your job is to be percussion, and you're just going to do a heartbeat. And you can just do this and hold it through the whole song and not sing a single note. You can also sing the melody, or you can get brave and try to sing one of the harmonies. We ready? It sounds good together. Be the...
Okay, right, let's all start together. 1, 2, and.
Be
fire.
It's time to take a moment in our service to engage in the practice of generosity together. For those of you who are able to make a financial contribution, the logistics are on your screen. We typically give away all of the cash from our Sunday offerings to local charities whose missions align with our values, a program called the Month of Sundays. This month, the recipient is Sojourners Alliance, whose mission is to confront the barriers that lead to hunger, homelessness, and poverty through direct intervention with those in need by providing a safe and comfortable living environment while receiving intensive care management. To donate, please indicate Month of Sundays on your check or from the online drop-down menu. In the spirit of love and for the continuing work of this church, we will now take some time to practice generosity together.
Thank you, Patricia. And I invite us now to settle just a little bit deeper into the spirit of meditation. Maybe take a few deep breaths. Settle into your body in this place, in this time. We'll enter into a time of silent meditation with these words by my colleague and friend, the Reverend Julie Taylor. It's called Love Looks Different. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It is not proud. Love bears all things. We know these words. use these words when we refer to one person loving another. But love looks different when we relate to systems. Love looks different in the face of injustice. It is then that love is resistant. Love is defiant. It is not backing down, it is staying in the streets. Love is holding each other and ourselves accountable. Love is challenging because none of us are free until all of us are free. Love is protest. Protest is love. Love bears all things. Let's rest in the silence for a moment together. Amen, and blessed be.
We have two readings by Bell Hooks that we want to offer today. These are from her book, All About Love. I feel our nation's turning away from love. Turning away, we risk moving into a wilderness of spirit so intense that we may never find our way home again. I write of love to bear witness both to the danger in this moment and to call for a return to love. Redeemed and restored, love returns us to the promise of everlasting life. When we love, we can let our hearts speak.
And then there's this one. Without love, our efforts to liberate ourselves and our world community from oppression and exploitation are doomed. As long as we refuse to address fully the place of love in struggles for liberation, we will not be able to create a culture of conversion where there is a mass turning away from the ethic of domination. So, Gloria Jean Watkins was born in Hopkinsville, Kentucky in 1952. She was one of 6 children, and her father worked as a janitor while her mother worked as a maid. Hopkinsville in those days was a segregated town, and in her memoir, Bone Black, Memories of Girlhood, she describes it as a rich, magical world of Southern Black culture that was sometimes paradisical and at other times terrifying. She began her schooling in a segregated school and moved to an integrated one in the late 60s. The experience shaped her as an educator and as a writer. She began her first book, Ain't I a Woman? Black Women and Feminism, at 19. Worked on it through her undergraduate years at Stanford and during her master's program in writing at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. It was finally published under her pen name, Bell Hooks, after her maternal great-grandmother, in 1981. She then went on to get a doctorate from UC Santa Cruz and had a career in academia teaching at San Francisco State, Yale, Oberlin, the City College of New York, and Berea College. She published 33 books for adults and 5 children's books, submitted countless chapters and articles, and played key roles in several documentary-style films. I don't actually think it's possible to overstate the cultural impact Hooks had. In particular, she pointed out the racism inherent in white women's second-wave feminism. And while she did tick some people off, those who listened and learned were brought to a deeper understanding of overlapping systems of oppression, the ways that white supremacy, patriarchy, and consumerism reinforce one another and keep power and wealth concentrated in the hands of rich, white, straight men. She connected the dots between domestic violence, toxic masculinity, poverty, and the political strategies that demonize and divide us. Bell Hooks was fierce, but not angry. In fact, the strategy she proposed to dismantle oppression and build a just society she dubbed the love ethic. Hooks writes, "Awakening to love can happen only as we let go of our obsession with power and domination. Culturally, all spheres of American life, politics, religion, the workplace, domestic households, intimate relations, should and could have as their foundation a love ethic. The underlying values of a culture and its ethics shape and inform the way we speak and act. A love ethic presupposes that everyone has the right to be free, to live fully and well. To bring a love ethic to every dimension of our lives, our society would need to embrace change. At the end of The Art of Loving, Erich Fromm affirms that important and radical changes are necessary if love is to become a social and not a highly individualistic, marginal phenomenon. Individuals who choose to love can and do alter our lives in ways that honor the primacy of a love ethic. We do this by choosing to work with individuals we admire and respect, by committing to give our all to relationships, by embracing a global vision wherein we see our lives and our fate as intimately connected to those of everyone else on the planet. Commitment to a love ethic transforms our lives by offering us a different set of values to live by. In large and small ways, we make choices based on a belief that honesty, openness, and personal integrity need to be expressed in public and private decisions. She concludes, I know no one who has embraced a love ethic whose life has not become joyous and more fulfilling. The key sentence for me in that kind of long passage is this one. In large and small ways, we make choices based on a belief that honesty, openness, and personal integrity need to be expressed in public and private decisions. So what this looks like in practice is the embrace of two disciplines, being present to what is real and asking ourselves in any given situation, what is the most loving thing I can do? So what she's saying then is that we don't have to single-handedly save the world. We need to wholeheartedly love the world and then make simple, loving choices that are accessible to us in the moment where we are. Do you hear the difference between those two things? One of the things I appreciate about Hook's framing of the love ethic is that self-love is actually at the center, just like the meta practice that starts with self-compassion. In her words, self-love is the foundation of our loving practice. Referencing the work of Nathaniel Branden, Hooks lists 5 practices that support the development of healthy self-esteem: self-awareness, self-acceptance, self-responsibility, self-assertion, and purposeful living. Self-awareness requires we continually question ourselves, trying to understand why do we do the things we do and why we are the way we are. The best tool in developing self-awareness, from my perspective, is the pause. When we're in a challenging situation, rather than reacting habitually, we can pause and gently interrogate ourselves. What am I feeling in this moment? What triggers are being activated? Is my instinctual reaction the right thing for me to do, the loving choice, or should I attempt to find something more loving or maybe more effective to try? Self-acceptance is about seeing, acknowledging, and forgiving ourselves. We let ourselves just be and make the choice to love ourselves just as we are. This doesn't mean refusing to learn and grow, but it does mean letting that growth unfold naturally, rather than trying to force ourselves to be someone we're not yet ready to be. Which leads us to self-responsibility, another way of saying we embrace accountability. When we accept that we are imperfect, we know we are going to make mistakes, and there's sometimes the temptation to get defensive or deny that we've caused harm. But doing so, when we do that, when we fight accountability, it actually hurts us as well as the people around us, because the small piece of awareness that we've messed up can take root in our heart like a seed and grow feelings of shame and fear, sort of like I was talking about last week. Part of developing a healthy self-esteem is admitting we sometimes mess up and being willing to accept the consequences for our actions. This reinforces that while we are imperfect and make mistakes, those mistakes don't corrupt our internal sense of worth. Self-assertion is another key practice Hooks identifies as contributing to self-love. This is partially about boundaries. We need to learn to advocate for ourselves and keep ourselves safe. No one outside us can know what we need, so it's our job to figure that out and communicate it in ways that are both kind and clear. Last but not least, self-love requires purposeful living. We need to believe that what we do matters. This looks like pursuing our passions, acting out of our deep values in ways that feel right and good. Beginning with self-love is a necessary corrective to the prevalent idea that sacrificial love is somehow morally superior. Historically, the idea of sacrificial love has been a tool in perpetuating abuse and oppression. For example, women have been told that their husband's anger and violence are simply their cross to bear. We see sacrificial love manifesting in the martyrdom model of social change. How many of our great luminaries became more powerful after an untimely death? And what kind of price did their families and loved ones pay for their dedication to the movement? It's just something to think about. So once we've started with self-love, what are the next practices that support the love ethic? Of course, loving relationships. Now, despite our societal obsession with romantic relationships, Hooks advocates for focusing on friendship. The passion and drama of romance can often lead us into unhealthy situations, she believes, dependent and codependent relationships, trauma bonds, and the like. Often, we choose romantic partners so that we can replicate the unhealthy patterns that were present in our childhood. Friendships, however, give us the chance to learn and shift towards health. Hooks writes, "Many of us learn as children that friendship should never be seen as just as important as family ties. However, friendship is the place in which a great majority of us have our first glimpse of redemptive love and caring community. Learning to love in friendships empowers us in ways that enable us to bring this love to other interactions with family or to romantic bonds." I know this has proved true in my life. I gotta say, I've always had excellent taste in friends. And those friendships have helped me learn both self-love and how to navigate relationship dynamics in more healthy ways. Some of it, I think, has to do with being exposed to different patterns of relating, different ways of being human. Exposure allows us to reflect on our romantic and familial relationships with just a little bit of distance, kind of like anthropologists. We don't know to question the weird ways our family does things until we get close to other people whose families don't do those same weird things, although they probably do other weird things. Normal is just a setting on the dryer. And I once saw a cartoon that showed a completely empty auditorium with the sign up front, "Annual Convention of Functional Families." Beyond relationships with individuals, families, and friends, Hooks encourages us all to practice the love ethic in community. In fact, one of her books was titled "Teaching Community, a Pedagogy of Hope." In community, we learn to listen across difference. We identify strategies that help us navigate the inevitable messiness of life. We support and care for each other. We challenge each other and learn from one another. Practicing the love ethic in community looks like a focus on empathy and cooperation, and it looks like a movement away from narcissism and self-centeredness. We need to develop our capacity to understand that everyone in the room has their own needs and wants, stories and feelings underneath that thin covering of skin. As we get better at holding these things, we're able to listen more than we speak. We become more aware of our privilege, and we use it to help those around us. We step back and make space for other voices, rather than seeking always to amplify our own. Hooks writes, "To truly love, we must learn to mix various ingredients: care, affection, recognition, respect, commitment, and trust, as well as honest and open communication. Building loving communities gives us a chance to practice new and healthier ways of being together. Loving communities provide us with a source of safety and support. Loving communities are also fertile grounds for learning and growing, experimentation, and risk. A just and equitable world would consist of networks of loving communities, networks of beloved communities, small b, small c, into beloved community, 2 caps. That amazing concept is the goal of any and all justice work in which we would choose to engage." Last but not least, Hooks feels a healthy spiritual life is a necessary component of the love ethic. She doesn't necessarily advocate following a particular organized religion, and she feels we can use whatever words we want to refer to the divine. But Hooks believes that to remain committed to the path of the love ethic, we need to cultivate an awareness of the transcendent. We need to know in our bones that we are a part of something greater. She writes, "A commitment to a spiritual life necessarily means we embrace the eternal principle that love is all, everything, our true destiny. Despite overwhelming pressure to conform to the culture of lovelessness, we still seek to know love, and that seeking is itself a manifestation of divine spirit. Beloved community, capital B, capital C, is one phrase that we could use in the place of God or the divine. We could understand that beautiful goal as our ultimate concern, which is Tillich's definition of the word God. But feel free to find whatever words work for you. The point is, we need to understand that our individual lives serve a greater purpose. We need to know that we are interconnected to all of life. Otherwise, our best intentions won't keep us from burning out and turning back toward our selfish pursuits. The forces of domination use fear, isolation, judgment, and shame to control and oppress. The antidote, according to Hooks, is this gentle, persistent, fierce way of being that relentlessly accepts the truth, speaks the truth, and then acts from love. It takes courage to live this way. Remember that the word courage comes from cœur, or heart. Love is what makes us brave. Love keeps us going, even when things are confusing and hard. Love makes a way out of no way. If we can keep coming back to these practices, these simple but not easy practices that make up the love ethic, I think we can get through anything. I think we can build the beloved community. I think we can manifest a world that is worthy of our children. So be it, and so may it be. I invite you now to rise in body or in spirit. Let's sing together, Love Will Guide Us. Our closing reading is one of Bell Hook's beautiful poems. This comes from Appalachian Elegy. It's number 6. Listen, little sister. Angels make their hope here in these hills. Follow me, I will guide you. Careful now, no trespass. I will guide you word for word, mouth for mouth. All the holy ones embracing us. All our kin, making home here, renegade, marooned, lawless fugitives grace these mountains. We have earth to bind us. The covenant between us can never be broken. Vows to live and let live. Let's sing together our musical benediction, There is a Love. Please join me in the words to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this chalice that it might glow gently in our hearts. May it light our paths as we leave this place. May it guide our way until we are together again. There is a love that holds us, and if we let it, it will flow through us and shape our lives into things of beauty, and shape our world into communities of connection and care. If we let it flow through us, if we let ourselves become its instruments, maybe even its servants, we'll create the world we're dreaming of. So join me in the work. I love you all. Go in peace. Come back next Sunday.